is available.
I would like that.
Good thing.
I did that. We're supposed to take online 3 months ago and
Strengths and leadership one.
now be on the board and I heard all the rules of voting and I didn't really think I was playing it.
Nancy, you're sitting next to me to make sure I don't get out of hand.
You fell. I was like,
Yeah, actually.
We're gonna put Christine next to me because of HIPAA violations. My pharmacist is not allowed to strike me.
He's next to each other.
I see all the best people. Seriously, I go in there to get anything.
so he's friendly, that's that I just have.
No.
Most people that I know have never.
I usually see Johnny Linkwitz at other places. I see him there. Like presenting. Allow anyone.
You probably said
Very agenda.
that's my favorite part.
Well, yeah, sometimes I prefer not to go because then I gotta worry about him and what I'm.
I remember.
It's hard. It's okay, you know.
Oh,
So funny.
oh, no.
And like, I'm just here to.
You know what?
Apparently. I'm
So excited.
Can you hold my purse?
I may be going to this.
That's-
Oh, I don't know if I can wear that or not. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go on an accreditation visit to a community college in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
So it's like.
Allow. You want to
Had any.
mission control? I can say it's vegan. When you sell vegan pepperoni.
Would you not play nice with others?
Basically into the. Cauliflower, the vegan cauliflower.
Like I almost sat in coriander seed.
It's still
Could have.
my favorite pizza.
That's what the chair.
So it's gone now,
Chair's chair.
as you may know. I'm gonna work to bring it back because we have a, system,
That's like.
and there's no reason we shouldn't put it on.
Yes, it is. It's so.
I'm not necessarily
Somebody's birthday.
big on.
They've been doing it. Social. Okay.
That's the thing is like, it's, you advertise the vegan because then the vegan crowd will, like, they'll know, but everyone else you don't want to tell because then they.
Thank you. This is awesome.
It takes.
What else?
Got so busy with that, they didn't have time. for their training.
Wage increase.
It does, but
They still want to.
Oh, they still get tips.
That's what we're gonna start putting on the bottom of our invoices. 10% gratuity is appreciated. Even though we only.
It's like everywhere now, you've got to do tips. It's like everywhere now. you've
So-
gotta-
How are you?
I'm doing well. Construction site was this week.
Not reported. It wasn't ours that burned down was good.
sushi.
But
I know.
something probably got vandalized. They just don't tell me.
I did ask Johnny Linkwist. If the mortuary, and she says it burned some trees, but it melted. The lights, there's traffic lights and blew out the windows across the street.
That last one.
Oh.
For so ago.
The cars,
All the short because it melted. It was.
it's just like the paint jobs were all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it's the same owner,
That's the right.
Was it's the same development company.
same development company.
Well, did they catch the lady that allegedly? The arsonist on one, do you know?
The serial one that was burning down all the old houses behind
It's fine.
former Blackwater.
That's who they thought we did the last apartment project.
Stay.
And they said they. Looking for it, but I don't know if they actually caught it.
Cereal arson.
There's ATM trucks
So
there,
she would always buy.
because I pass it every morning.
You hardly have any sugar.
Where was this at?
With small sugar, whatever.
Like, where's the Japanese?
These restaurant.
So,
Family restaurant.
you know, they had the third floor up. And someone fire and supplies, 3 minutes. Guys there, and 12 hours later, and they were still home. The remnant.
Did you see any of the photos that somebody taken? That was incredible.
Flames and.
I mean,
Yeah.
It looks tiny in the photo, but you realize like it's a 3-story building and the flames are that high again. It was like,
It's terrifying.
it would have been horrifying.
Excel down at this end of.
How was SUU? Did you have fun?
I did. I'll tell you guys all about
I know, I'm excited. Thanks for going.
it. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. It was fun. I got to take the family down to the hotel.
Get a
So-
some training.
Nice.
I was in London and.
But it is.
April.
States.
Whatever works.
Was like. So he's right here.
Want me to get started?
You know what? We should get started. Usually it's Matt right on time, telling me to stop talking and get the meeting started, but he did let us know he's.
I was just thinking if we get started, like we can go have treats because look at that.
It smells a lot.
Matter of fact, maybe we should say we don't get started until everybody has treats.
Would you like me to read the or you can have another.
It was like a parade coming in with this food.
Would you like to have a board member read what we're going to be consuming?
Sure.
In case there's a French term in there.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad I passed that on.
Jalapeno popper canapé, that's a French word.
Very.
Am I reading the descriptions?
Yeah, and usually there's a little bit about the student.
Okay, these are crafted by Morgan Wyatt. Started the culinary arts program in January, and I really liked it here. I enrolled in this program in hopes of refining my skills and expanding my knowledge of food in general, and I've learned so much. The instructors do a great job of adapting the way they explain things to make sure everyone understands it, and I've learned so much from them. I've had a lot of fun and grown a lot as a cook and as a person since starting classes. That sounds delicious.
Morgan graduated today, completed. Yeah.
The next meal or item is from Austin Young, California sushi roll display. I've served for you before at one of these meetings, and I'm happy that I have the opportunity to do it again. I started the program in January of this year, and I'm getting closer to graduating every day. I spent the years of my life after high school pursuing a degree in political science and decided it was not what made me truly happy. I live and breathe food, and I'm so thankful for the opportunities and the culinary arts program has given me. I have learned so much since starting here and now even have a job as a sushi chef at Tona on 25th.
Oh, my goodness.
To show off what I've learned today, I've prepared for you different versions of a California roll. Inside is crab, cucumber, and avocado. And I topped it with varying garnishes and sauces so as to give you a different experience with every bite. Thank you for this opportunity, and I hope you enjoy it. Next up from Jacob Wilden is fried garlic cheese curd poutine, not French, Canadian. Cooking has changed my life for the better. It's taught me a lot of life skills such as following directions, being observant, keeping my composure, and thinking on the fly. With my grandmother being a huge foodie as she travels around the world, she's inspired me so much. I appreciate, and I hope you enjoy. And finally, from Reese McCrary, decorated cake, raspberry chocolate, and vanilla. I am currently in OTEC's culinary arts program. I decided to enroll in culinary arts for many reasons, but cakes were my main interest. My goal with this program is to become proficient in making food, delicious dessert, and to present it well. This cake is one, hopefully out of many, that I'll be able to share the creativity and skills that I've acquired in the culinary arts program. Delish.
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
Yep. Oh, sure.
Come on. Here I go.
Especially the one.
The cake. Oh my gosh.
Right.
No way I'm still with something like that.
Oh, easy, 100%.
How are you doing, man?
Good.
And cooking, same thing.
Make it smells good.
Yeah.
Run out of battery.
No, I had like 6 or 8% left. I was dead.
Caffeine is very healthy.
On my Strava.
I don't think I dare cut this. Cake.
40,
We just got done reading the menu, and so everyone's grabbing a bite to eat in the direction of the vice chair. Perfect. And then we can start with. We should just keep it going. Yeah.
Just in time.
Yeah, about time I pulled in. So I've written both of them.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Right, how are you doing? I don't know why I'm sorry.
Thank you for saving me.
Still trying to find the. She sent them out. She sent them out this week.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh, have you? That's awesome.
Go.
Yeah.
I decided to delay and eat.
Oh, wise choice. Good job.
Read us the menu and it was too good to.
All California.
Oh, all right, celebrate that.
I.
You should a couple of your. Talk about certificates.
Well, I wanted to have some.
I could hurt. I know everything.
We're just looking.
I sent it to Monica. I can send it to you.
Lights from our.
It's also on the Board of Trustees webpage if you ever need it.
Thank you.
Tina.
You jumping in there?
I typically
Saw Zoom and.
raise after.
What's that?
Generally, the whole.
Yeah, Tyler.
You burn it off with calories on the run, right?
You have to chain me to the table since I embarrassed myself.
You have to remind Tyler to let the guests eat first.
Sorry.
Oh, we're gonna eat it, right?
Will.
In the bowl. When we get done, because these are really important people, when they just don't want to be eating food in their teeth. And I have a dental assisting instructor here. Until after we get done talking about their awesomeness, and then we have to go, so you should grab some stuff to go.
She was busy today.
Yes, she was.
It's a long way home.
All right. Okay. One, yeah, all right. One. Okay, perfect. Jump it in there and get this. Welcome to the August board meeting of the Trustees of Ogden-Weber Technical College. Great to have you here. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. We'll get some business taken care of here so we can hear from the important people in the room and so these guys over here. First off, we want to take a look and refer to the minutes of the meeting held on June 23rd, 2022. Hopefully you've had a chance to review those items and open it up for any discussions or questions or concerns about those. There are none. We'll accept a motion for approval of the minutes of the meeting of January 23rd. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Christine. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, Vice President Burchell, this is the chair. Would you like to talk
Yes.
about our Skills USA?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, our student wasn't able to make it today, but we have the next best thing, her program manager here, Shauna Allen, and I'll turn the time over to Shauna to introduce Allie and talk about what she did at Skills.
We have a few pictures.
Yes.
Okay, so we got the pleasure of going to Atlanta, Georgia to compete. This is my student here on my right. Her name is Allie Tao. She is a very talented cosmetologist and chose to compete in the nail portion of Skills USA. And she did the national and won first place there. So then she went on, or sorry, she won the state and then went on to nationals in Atlanta. And so that's her mom next to her on my left. Her name is Mimi. We had such a good time. I think I have a closer view if we can go to the
Let me get that.
of her nails. So as part of Skills USA, they have to do a pedicure and manicure, a full set of nails. This was her inspiration for her nail art. She came up with it all on her own, which I was super proud of her because a lot of students will see images and they'll just copy them. This was completely on her own. So she came up with kind of the imagery of different levels of nature and things like that. And she kind of had a little bio about it. But we had such a good time and she placed first place. So we were super proud of her. We get this fun little medal to show off in our program and we're just proud of her. So thank you guys for letting me share a little bit about Allie. Thank you.
So Shauna, how many other, this was the post-secondary division, right?
This was post-secondary. Yes, she was.
How many other states sent people to compete in nails?
I didn't count them, but I would say at least over 20 different states there.
So thank you. In Utah, cosmetologists, it's a combo license. So cosmetologists are licensed as cosmetologists, barbers, and nail technicians. Or you can do them
Basic esthetician.
and basic esthetician. I forgot the fourth one, I'm sorry. And so that's why the program's 1,600 hours, or you can do some of those separately. And so all of our cosmetology students do nails, but it is very rare for a cosmetologist to not only win at state, but to be the gold medal champion is pretty impressive. And that's great that she took her mom. I would not have guessed that's her mom.
I know, right? Beautiful.
And that's a big deal. All of our students did phenomenally well. We had a lot of our students that were in the top 10 in the nation. And they are going against the best of the best of the best. And we were excited to have a lot of our staff be able to go out with our students. You want to give a report from your granddaughter? No.
I had a granddaughter go. Bailey Blair.
Yeah, I know Bailey. Yeah, she's great. She graduated not too long ago. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, eight of the 11 placed in the top 10.
In the nation. So that's
Huge.
That's pretty amazing. Thank you. Jason Werner, in addition to being our program director for our manufacturing, construction, and apprenticeship programs, is also our regional Skills USA director.
Thank you. It's wonderful. President, a presidential award recipient.
Yeah, we have a few, and I'm gonna stand back here so it's a little bit easier for those that are online can see us. Have some awesome people in the room. I also want to recognize that we have the Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education, Jeff Landward, here from the Commissioner's office. I did tell him that I told culinary was his birthday and that's why we made the cake. I didn't read that first. Pretty good lie going there. Do not fib to an attorney. Every year we have an opportunity to give, as part of our kickoff, the President's Outstanding Awards to our employees that make a significant difference here. We talk a lot about policies and we talk about budgets and we talk about wonderful student outcomes, and none of that would happen if we didn't have amazing people that really make a difference each and every day, not only for our students, but for our employer partners, for our educational partners with the school district, our university partners, and with our employers. Each of the people we're going to highlight today make a difference in a very, very significant way. In addition to individual awards, we also give out team awards. This past year, we gave out 3 team awards for some teams that have just done an amazing job. So, team awards can go to a department, it can go to a program, or it can be a cross-divisional team where we have people coming from many departments. This year, we recognized 3 great teams The first one was our culinary program. And we recognize the entire faculty and staff. Here's what some of the nominations said, and we send out students, faculty, staff, and community members can nominate. One nomination said the college really should promote the culinary program as a significant benefit for employee recruitment and retention. Where else can you get amazing, diverse, innovative, and delicious food every day for such an amazing price? No matter how my day is going, I know I'm going to be graded by a wonderful culinary student and culinary instructors. My day is going to be much better. We serve lunch every day from 11 to 1. It's a challenge to run a very busy culinary program, and you're still providing services to the college community each and every day. Another nominator said always have great food in the entire campus to enjoy. I have never had a hankering they couldn't satisfy. That's not French. Jose, Abigail, Jackson, Chris, and Caleb do a phenomenal job with every aspect of the program. Finally, a student from another program said they rock. I look forward to watching them in action when preparing and serving meals. They communicate well and seem to have a great time together. They show what it's like behind the scenes of the food industry, the atmosphere in the grill, help my school day fly by, and relax when delicious food is available to feed my starving mind. So they're not only recruitment and retention for employees, they're very much recruitment and retention for our students as well. We gave a team award to our Center for Teaching and Learning. These are two very, very busy instructional designers. They worked very hard during COVID, helping programs put a lot of their content online. Now they're helping them take the content and really identifying what needs to be hybrid, what makes sense for the student to do online, and what is going to be better for the student to do face-to-face. We have done a significant overhaul. Vice President Burchell, the program directors, and the faculty have done a lot of work in changing our programs into being course-based. In the past, the student could enroll in welding and they could do a little bit of this course one day and a little bit of this course another day. And it was really hard to track, and it was hard for the student to know where they were at in the program. All of our programs are now 100% course-based. They have students in welding or in culinary, they have a similar syllabus, so they know what to expect. It's easier for us to track what the students are doing, and it's better to help us align what their outcomes are with the employer. They have worked very, very hard in making that difference for 35 separate programs. It's a lot of work for two really, really brilliant instructional designers. Our final team award went to our HR team. Just in this past year, this team of 3 people improved the onboarding process for all new hires, moving it from paper to online, making it more efficient. They provided managers with an onboarding dashboard so they can see exactly where their new hires were in the process. This made sure that every one of our new employees had the same onboarding experience and that everyone completed their onboarding experience. They implemented a new applicant tracking system that centralizes the process of attracting, screening, and landing qualified hires who are productive on day one, making sure that we are meeting all our compliance. They completed a comprehensive compensation study and adjusted all of our salary and wage ranges this past year. They took our payroll system that we did not realize we were paying. Our ADPs, our payroll system. We had features in there that we were paying for that we were not utilizing. Our brand new payroll person found that out and said, we're going to use this. We're going to do this. Brand new employee implemented so many new things that has improved our payroll processes, automated so many manual processes, and made them all better efficiency for supervisors and for employees. And most of all, they've worked hard to support the college employees, departments, and programs. Every one of our programs and departments have been doing a lot of recruiting. I'm not telling our business leaders anything new. We're all constantly recruiting. And they have done a great job in helping make sure that the openings that we have get filled and that we have better retention with our current employees. One of the individual awards we give out is for exceptional service. This year, we gave out 2 individual exceptional service awards. So Sherry, if I could, sorry. Turn here. Sherry, if I could have you come stand up here. This is Sherry Stapley. Sherry is one of our dental assisting instructors. And she has just done a phenomenal job in her entire career here at the college. I have called her the MacGyver of education. If a student needs to learn a concept and she's explained it one way and the student doesn't get it, she can do it in an infinite number of ways until the student understands. And she will do whatever it takes. If the student's willing to learn, she's going to do whatever it takes. During COVID, one of the key skills that dental assistants need to learn is a coronal polish. And usually they bring in other students or family members to do that. Because of COVID, we can bring them in. I'm just pray that she still has enamel. She was the coronal polish person for students. She would just say, you're going to have to do it on me. I hope we didn't over-fluoridate either. So here are some of the things that came from her nomination. Sherry has participated in every iteration of the dental assisting curriculum over the past 6 years. Her industry knowledge is exceptional. She uses her expertise to continue to improve the curriculum, and she collaborates with her coworkers to create new study tools, improved assignments, and accurate assessment. Sherry uses her desire for efficiency to derive the improvement in processes in the program. She's created new assignments, flashcards for every chapter, practice quizzes, skill step sheets, and module study helps. In addition, she's been influential in creating a process for student mentorship and engagement in the program. Instructors are frequently tasked with customizing instruction to the learner. Sherry has an exceptional talent for effortlessly meeting the student where they are and bringing them up to where they need to be. She frequently creates individualized step-by-step checklists and calendars to assist students in staying on track with their coursework. She does this with a cheerful attitude and has a way of making the student feel welcome and appreciated. Her students love her. So congratulations, Sherry. Tim is one of our bookstore associates. He is our other exceptional service recipient. Tim is a great addition to the college store and has always serves customers with a smile. If he doesn't have an answer to something, he will let you know, and then he'll find the answer to your question and follow up right away. His communication when completing catering orders and other services for the college store are always spot on. I never have to worry about any task that's assigned to Tim because he always gets the job done and it's done very well. I know that Tim shows great customer service skills with everyone he comes in contact with, and he represents the college very, very well. Another nomination read, his middle name is Exceptional Service. We checked with HR. It's not, but it should be. I've watched Tim give more attention to those who need more than anyone else at the college. One small example, a student was joined by their spouse and child for lunch. Our college bookstore is just right outside the campus grill. So when students are having lunch, they can go into the college store. Before I knew it, Tim was over there talking to the family and having them follow him into the college store for a treat on him. This is the same story for me when he first met my son. He was so excited to leave the store with a bag of chips and a donut, all provided by Tim. Tim cares so deeply for people. Biases and stereotypes do not exist to him. I know he's made so many people's day with his excitable and positive attitude. We could all use a lesson from Tim. It would only make me a better person to be more like him. Bookstore is a big part of our student retention. If students are having a bad day, they'll go into the bookstore. They'll many times share that with Tim. Tim's a former student in our welding program and in current student in NDI. And, you know, Tim can say, yeah, it's hard, but here's what this is going to do. He knows how to help an apprentice student who's been working all day long and is running in and needs some caffeine and some carbohydrates. Got you. And he's got them covered because they got to get to class and they've been working all day long. And he does that in a cheery smile, even though he's been working all day long as well. So we appreciate everything Tim does. we give an Innovator of the Year award. And this year, our Innovator of the Year award goes to Mr. Jaime Contreras. Oh my gosh, I forgot your last name. Jaime is awesome. How can I forget your last name? You're so amazing. You just call you Jaime. It should be a single. Jaime at our golf tournament was kind enough to let the president sit at his hole all day long. At hole number 10 at our golf tournament, I had some information about how our students are doing, the impact on the community. And we talked about our new building that we're requesting. If I was talking to one golf team and another team came up, Jaime just stepped in and he gave the presentation just as well. He'll tell you better. No, I'm going to say just as well. He did a really good job in presenting things about the college. So many of the great things that we have enjoyed over this past year, from t-shirts to stickers to marketing to presentations that I give to the state legislature. In fact, I gave a presentation today to the Facilities and Finance Committee of the Board of Higher Education. They were here on our campus visiting us, and the handout we used, Jaime created. And he created that yesterday, because that's when we found out that Monday night that they were coming. Tuesday, he was at the golf tournament. Wednesday, he created this beautiful handout. Jaime has been a fantastic addition to OTEC. His inspiring graphic artwork can be seen on college banners, t-shirts, and publications. His cultural understanding has changed OTEC's branding to better reflect the vibrant, diverse community we serve. His willingness to use his bilingual skills for translation for publications from English to Spanish and save thousands of dollars in translation fees, and has ensured our Latinx community has access to technical education. Our social media channels have never been more interactive, engaging. As an example, the OTEC football team on April Fool's Day was genius. If you didn't see it, I'll send it to you. But he had the OTEC football schedule that included Louisiana Tech, Alabama, Clemson. We did schedule Weber State this year. He also posts on all the holidays. Something has never happened before. Posts are made daily and reflect the amazing work and accomplishment by OTEC students and staff. He really does love the Tech College and does a lot to promote it. He gives 110% to every project and event. I can't wait to see what he does next. At the golf tournament, as our T prize, individuals could go up and pick a different hat or visor, and then we had 3 or 4 different leather OTEC and foundation logos that they could pick from, and they could match them, and then they could put it on the hat for them. The company that we used for this were so impressed with that. I said, you can contact him, you cannot take it.
Y'all gave me their business card.
Don't get any ideas.
He loves this community. He's a Ben Lomond grad. He had a lot of opportunities and scholarships to attend other universities, not only in the state of Utah, but outside of the state. And he attended Weber State and completed his BFA there. And he loves giving back to his community. So we're so proud to give Jaime. A lot of times we'll request a design, and Maria, our director for advancement, will bring in a series of designs. And so we'll pick one if it's going to go on a shirt or a hat or something if we're giving it out. And Jaime, I was telling him, I said, you know what, I'm not sure I'm the right person to pick it out, because a lot of times a design I don't like, I find out people really like it. I found out what he does is he has them made into stickers anyway. He's like, I know it's a good design. Even though you're not going to put it on a shirt, he makes that for stickers. And when you've seen those stickers and people put them on their walls, he's smart. He knows what sells. Our rookie of the year goes to Jenny Goulet. And Jenny, I could not be here today.
Vacation.
She's on vacation and she's entitled because she's been very, very busy. As a new employee, she was here less than a year. She's been so busy with one nomination said, Jenny's been so busy with my department alone, but no matter how many times I call her in the day, she answers the phone and is very pleasant. Jenny is our human resources generalist #1. So she deals with all the new openings. She's willing to try new and better ways to be more effective and efficient. She's very kind and helps you step by step through a new process, even if it's the 100th time asking the same question. Our HR director, Sharon Lobato, says she was hired in August of 2021. And one of our goals was to improve the onboarding process, specifically moving from paper to online. Jenny came in and hit the ground running. She quickly figured out how ADP works and was able to test and move onboarding online within a matter of months. This was a goal that was to be completed in the fourth quarter of our last fiscal year. She completed it halfway through the second quarter. That's how awesome Jenny is, and no, none of you can ever. Jenny also updated the welcome video and added them to the onboarding application process. Her efforts improved efficiencies with the HR office and streamlined the onboarding experience. New employees are able to complete onboarding prior to the first day of work so that they and HR employees can focus on priority items. Additionally, Jenny has provided training on the onboarding dashboard to all supervisors. She has been an integral part of setting up our new applicant tracking system, testing, training, and getting everything up and running. He is helping revise job descriptions and adding those descriptions to our new applicant tracking system. Jenny has shown a lot of initiative as a brand new employee, and her efforts should be acknowledged. So we were very, very proud to recognize her as our innovator. The final award that we give is the President's Outstanding Award. This is our top award that we give at the college. And I'm honored to introduce you to someone that you have been enjoying. If you haven't met Chef Jose, you've been enjoying the fruits of his labor for a while. So Chef Jose Rodriguez. Before I read all this stuff, let me just tell you about the week Chef Jose has had. Some planned, some very unplanned. On Tuesday, we held our golf tournament, and for lunch, we usually use external vendors because our culinary program is very, very busy. Chef Jose this past year has expanded capacity to the program twice. It is always full. It has a waiting list. It is a very, very, very busy program because students are not only being taught and they're learning, they're passing things off, they're also doing production for lunch and other catering. So we gave culinary the option to provide lunch at our golf tournament. And I was hoping they would say no. Because they're busy. Chef Jose said, absolutely not. We are going to provide lunch. So they built over 200 boxed lunches. They smoked all the turkey themselves. It was all processed here. Nothing came off a truck and just thrown together. It was all hand done. It was amazing. So that would keep them busy enough. Then we informed them we need a catered lunch for members of the Board of Higher Education who are going to be here today to visit us about our building request. They always schedule the tours, and they were visiting degree granting institutions and universities, but they always schedule at college for lunch because we have the best culinary programs. They were coming here for lunch. So we threw that little wrinkle in while he also has catering for this today for our board. Can you handle these? Like, not a problem. It's the students together and they just handle everything and they come up with amazing things. And they still serve lunch to hundreds of students all day long. It's just impressive. Vice President Schwenk said something today to to the commissioner and to our board members. Whenever we are meeting with dignitaries and other critical people, we always have Jose and his team cater. Jose is probably responsible for the millions and millions of dollars of donations. His team have just done a phenomenal job. Let me share with you some of the things that both students and his supervisors said. Jose's impact on the program and the entire college is expressed in the fact that when he was nominated he was nominated not only for the President's Outstanding Employee Award, he was nominated for exceptional service and for innovation as well. He's a dedicated instructional leader and prefers not to be center stage. Instead, he works hard to shine the light on his students, program, faculty, and staff. This year, we went out and we recognized everyone who was receiving an award in their program and department so we could do it in front of their students and their coworkers. In the past, we've only done that during our kickoff week when the college campus is closed. This year we said, no, let's do it in front of the students. So we surprised him in front of the students. After he received the award, he said, it's my team, it's the students, and he gave credit to all of his employees first. That's Jose. A student said he shows a great level of knowledge when it comes to the culinary profession and how to help students reach their very best. The meals offered in the grill are always amazing and the price is reasonable. He's fair, he's firm and friendly when it comes to teaching his students in the classroom and getting them to practice their skills. He's kind and willing to stop what he's doing, give each student his personal attention. Another student commented he never stops or slow down. His meal options and variety are creative and innovative. This keeps coming up and I'm going to have to address this. He needs a food truck. He is very patient with students within his program and wants them to succeed. He's kind with other students and staff and the public that just come to eat his meals. He puts his heart and soul in all that he does. Jonna Howard, the director over his program, says Chef Jose is an inspiration. He deserves to be recognized for his efforts and contribution to the college mission. His work ethic is unparalleled. He provides an important service to the college and community and is totally dedicated to the success of his students and his team. He leads by example in the kitchen, not expecting his staff or students to do any more than he himself is willing to do. He arrives early, stays late, and when equipment is having issues, he comes in after hours or on weekends to handle the situation. He works when it's hot, he works when it's hard, he works when it's not ideal. He's an inspiration to his team and to his students. The program runs a working kitchen and food service. It's double duty for this program. Not only do they provide technical instruction, they also provide food services to the entire college and community at large. He juggles instruction and duties at the cafe. The food is widely appreciated and loved, and he's often called on to do catering events for the college or community. And he does all of these with seeming ease and grace under pressure. So please join me in recognizing bring up the food truck because we had a proposal a few years ago for a food truck. I get requests all the time for external catering. And we may be at the point now where we do look at one, not to compete with any of our vendors, Lucky Slice. But if there is a request for a designated catering, we may look at using a food truck. And or when we have events at one of the high schools, and show up with our food product. That's one of the options that we're looking at. And we say no to the president's outstanding. Thank you, Chef. Any questions you have for any of our recipients?
Oh, great job, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for all you do. Chef Jose can attest the food is amazing. There are to-go boxes. We would really like you. You can stay for the entire meeting if you want to class. If you'd like to take some food to class and say, I'm just thankful that I have this food. Thank you.
All right, thanks, President. That's wonderful to see some dedicated people, and there's a lot more here at the college. Grateful for the chance to get to know them a little bit better. Okay, well, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to attend an event in Cedar City and please have a report for us.
Yeah, I'll give you a rundown of what I did. Chad will help me out. I made a PowerPoint.
Wow.
No,
Give you an exceptional award.
definitely not the first time I've done that. It's the first time I've done that. Yeah, so back in July, I had the opportunity to head down to Southern Utah University, beautiful campus down there. And I attended the USHE board and trustee training along with President Taggart. He asked me to take a few minutes and share with you my experience and takeaways. We go to the next. As most of you by now know, back in 2020, they merged the two higher boards of education into a single Board of Higher Education. In May of 2021, that Board of Education adopted a strategic plan to guide the system over the next 5 years. This training was very much a kind of a status update of that plan. The mission, the vision, and the plan is kind of what they were focused on. If any of this sounds familiar, it's because it has been preached in this boardroom over many years. A lot of what they developed was built upon the foundations of past boards, past leaders and institutions, and just foundations built on the foundations of success of past innovations. The vision is to see every Utahn in a seat of higher education. The mission is to make that possible, is to make it. They've identified 6 priorities in order to make that possible. And I will highlight those in these next few slides. The main priorities is system unification. This is what we've talked about for a long time, bringing pathways from K through 12 into higher education, certificate granting institutions, all the way into the degree granting institutions, and making that a seamless transition with as much overlap as possible. Next is access. And that's increasing the college going rate of high school grads, increasing college going rate of underrepresented groups, affordability, making it possible for those. I'm going to move through these pretty quick. Affordability is just making it possible for those students to get access to these institutions through scholarships, through numerous other plans as well. And just make it possible for these students to pay their tuition and come and attend these wonderful institutions. Completion, once we get them here, how do we get them through? Timely completions of degrees, their goal is to increase that by 3% in 5 years, as well as the completion of underrepresented students by 4% in that same 5-year span. Completion only matters if it's in alignment with the workforce, so they've been working with all of us, trying to make that happen.
Understand that.
Oh, sorry. I will repeat myself. Yeah, thank you. Completion goes along with the workforce alignment. We want to make sure that once they graduate, once they can finish at these institutions, they have a good pathway into a solid, steady, high-paying, high-demand wages and careers. And the final was research. Still determining how best to approach this strategy. But if we don't do more research, we don't know where we're going. So that's one of the priorities as well. After this was a breakout session. I'm sure most of you recognize this character. The breakout session that I attended was for the trustees, and it was how do we better support the institutions over which we govern. There was an open discussion. I kind of picked out my 3, kind of what I grasped onto in those discussions, were the expertise, involvement, and feedback that we can offer the institutions that we preside over. We as trustees are in a unique position to bring an outside perspective into these institutions, and can act as a supportive and guiding hand when needed. We all have different backgrounds, different expertise, different levels of education ourselves, and we can offer that support when needed to the staff, to Chad, to Monica, President Taggart. And so that's kind of what I mean by involvement. The more we can be involved, the more we can offer that, the better we can support these institutions. And the more feedback that we can offer them as they provide the information. They do most of the heavy lifting for us. Who are we kidding? They put together all of these agendas. They put together all of this information packets for us to come and offer our expertise and feedback on. So my lasting impression, there's no more slides, but the lasting impression I got from this training is that there is no shortage of amazing people in Utah who care very much about the education system as a whole. They are working very diligently to make that as easy and accessible to as many people as possible. And I consider it a privilege to sit amongst them. So that was my experience down in Southern Utah University. I'd be happy to answer questions if you have any, but don't like hearing myself talk. So I'll get back down.
Will did a phenomenal job at this conference, and they did break us up, and they just said, hey, trustees are going to go in here and be able to talk with members of the Board of Higher Education. Presidents, you're going to have your own breakout, but we're going to separate you. And I was a little nervous. I want to hang out with my trustee to see what they're talking about. And the Board of Higher Education has made a significant efforts with the merger of the two systems to recognize the value of our local trustees. Every trustee is appointed by the governor and approved or confirmed by the Senate, just like members of the Board of Higher Education. When they merged the systems, Deputy Commissioner Landward spent a lot of time identifying what is the role in statute of the Board of Higher Education, what is the role of the institution's Board of Trustees, and what has been delegated, what is authorized to be delegated from the Board of Higher Education to the trustees. The Board of Higher Education in this incarnation has delegated an awful lot of responsibility and authority to local boards. Most system boards don't do that. In fact, they want to do the opposite. They want to take away things from the local boards. And that's not how this board operates. They recognize that they also need to provide support and training to the local boards. And so that's why they during COVID last year, they had a difficult time pulling this together. I think this will become more of an annual event. This go around, it was for board leadership, for chairs and vice chairs, and our chair and vice chair both were out of town. And so Will was willing to step up and go down to beautiful SUU. It was phenomenal weather and gorgeous campus, and got to interact with a lot of other individuals. So I appreciate Will doing that. One of the two really important things that are delegated to this board or are in statute as a responsibility is approval of our programs that are mission related. And we only do mission related. We don't offer degrees, and we're going to stay focused on high wage, high demand. But they want you with your experience and with those from our education background to make sure we have good alignment. They want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of our community. And the second one is very critical and important. And we're going to be talking more about this over this next year, is that it's up to the local boards to approve tuition and fees. Final approval is given by the Board of Higher Education, but they do that on the recommendation of the local board. And as we look at affordability, that's something that we look at very seriously here. We're in the process right now. We charge tuition by the clock hour. We're transitioning, so starting July 1st next year of 2023, will be credit. Students will pay for the credit hour. So we're switching how we charge tuition. But we want to make sure that we do it in a way that it keeps costs as low as possible. And we can demonstrate to the student, even though you paid this much for the same amount of training, this is what you're going to pay. And how do we express that in a way that our students understand that? There are some significant requirements that students are involved and understand and give that feedback. The board is involved, understands and gives feedback before we charge tuition. There are some general fees that we have that are going to go away. We're not going to charge general fees anymore. We don't have any course fees. That general fee is going to go into tuition. And we need to be able to communicate that to our students as well. And so this next year, there will be an opportunity for additional board members to be involved in this planning of how we do tuition and fees. Board member Schaefer has been assigned and has accepted. I talked to him in Cedar City. He will chair the board's tuition and fee committee. And so this is an exciting thing. I think most of our students that are coming from, if they're one of our students that have already been in a degree granting institution coming to us, or in a high school coming to us, they understand credit hours more than they understand clock hours. But for our current students, it might be confusing. And so how we do this and how we communicate that is going to be a little bit different. So I'm excited to have Will's perspective and leadership as we formulate how we do that forward.
I can add one more thing. In the memo, there is a link to the USHE strategic plan. All better articulated than what I could have presented. It's pretty interesting what they've done, and if anybody has the time, it's worth taking a look at.
They did provide some phenomenal training from risk management contracts with another company for crisis management. And this is PR, and I did not realize that state risk management, if we have an incident, they're covered to have crisis management intervention by a PR firm. So Will and I were sitting there taking copious notes, and it was still fresh in my mind that we received a bomb threat a few weeks earlier. Had that something happened, I mean, we learned a lot of things that we could have done differently. We did a lot of things the right way. There's some things that we certainly could have communicated different. Other USHE institutions received similar threats in state and out of state. well, not usually institutions out of state, but Utah Tech received one and we learned from how they responded. And so we hope we don't have those incidences, but we know that we have that resource and our board members know that we have that resource going forward.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Will, that was an excellent presentation.
Appreciate it.
Going and thanks for bringing us all up to speed. Vice President Call, capital improvement projects.
Thank you, Chair Wardo. For those of you that have not gone through this process annually, the board approves a priority listing of the projects that we hope to get funded by the Department of the Division of Facilities and Construction Management, and the memo that was given to you. See what page that is, but there's a listing of this from fiscal year 23, the year we're currently in, all the way to fiscal year 19, the types of projects that have been funded. And you can see from that list, if you add up the total for each fiscal year, that it's in the neighborhood of about $1.5 million, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But the ironic thing is we still have some of the projects on here that were awarded for fiscal year 21 that have not been completed. Gives you a little bit of an insight into what we've been dealing with supply chain and trying to find people to get things done in time. So this roof up here at the MT building, for example, is just wrapping up. Hopefully be done by the end of this month. And there's others that we still haven't even started from fiscal year 22. So anyways, what we've done is provide in the little Excel spreadsheet below, a listing of what we view as being the priorities. And the bottom line is we have so much to take care of around here when it comes to infrastructure and maintenance, just because of an aging campus. We met with the building group this morning from USHE, and President Taggart shared with them that the average age of the buildings that we have on this campus is nearly 60 years old. And so that in and of itself is going to demand a lot of upkeep and repair. And unfortunately, the funding we get year to year is based upon the value of the buildings that you have on your campus and at your college. And so as they get older, you get less. It seems like it should be the inverse, because if you have newer buildings, you actually get more of the pie because of the value of that building. Nonetheless, the state and DFCM have done a good job of trying to help us with what they have. I guess what I'm basically getting at is, as you look at this list, there's so many different things that could be a priority. The top three, well, two of the top three have to do with cooling and HVAC, and one is a chiller replacement on MT and the other is an air handler up on MT and the construction technology building. And it's just essentially those air handlers and those chillers have reached their life expectancy and they're not cooling and working as good as they should. And that means for uncomfortable learning conditions and environments when the students and staff are working. The second one that's listed under the top three is the transformer replacement, and that's phase 3. From that memo that we've shared, you can see that there's already been 2 phases awarded and funded to replace the transformers across this campus that are just in very, very old condition. I'm not going to go through every one of the things on the spreadsheet, but I would be happy to answer any questions you have about anything on the list. And what we're proposing is that this be forwarded on to DFCM, and we're hopeful that perhaps those top 3 would be funded, but that's going to be kind of borderline dollar wise, and a lot depends on how much the state gets to fund these improvement projects. So any questions on any of that?
Is there any issue with the funding coming through since we haven't been able to complete the projects from previous years?
Well, the money, the way that works is we never actually get dollars for this. It's just the project is funded and paid for directly from DFCM. And so we don't even recognize it on our books until it's actually been substantially completed. So we just finished fiscal year 22, for example, and this roof up at MT probably still not showing up on the books for fiscal year 22 because it's still not done. So in this current fiscal year, at the end of the year, that will be included as a capital asset on our books.
It's not really in your court, the project. Thank you.
But DFCM does receive funds for capital improvements each year from the legislature. And so those funds don't go away. If the construction is not completed in that fiscal year, they still have those funds and they receive additional for the following year. And what we're experiencing is not anything that any other business, any other institution is experiencing.
So you know, your top two items are the two longest lead items in construction right now. They're 8 to 14 months for transformers and rooftop units. So add that to the, we need it now because we won't get it till next year.
Right, it's almost as if once this is funded, if they're looking ahead to make the order right then, and we ran into some of that slate on this roof up at MT. They were said, not gonna get this for like 12 months. It's like, we should have ordered that stuff back when we got the notice that it was going to.
And literally, those are the two longest lead items we have in every product we try to get right now. If that helps add emphasis of urgency to the state.
Yeah.
Or you can take some from BDO.
You know.
Buildings are
Night.
still short.
You bring up a good point, and DFCM is many times aware of that, and so they'll say, we're gonna order these, but for this, it's gonna take 12 months. We're gonna move down on your list, and when they come in, we're gonna take care of that for you. So that's good information to have. That's something I'm sure we were not fully aware of.
Yeah, thank you, Slade.
I'm always full of good news.
Any other questions about the priority listing of these or things that are on the list that you would like to know more about? You know, the ironic thing is one of the biggest things that we have that's looming over us, and it's at the very bottom of the list for $10 million, which may or may not be accurate, but it's for the reconstruction of our exterior road and the entrance roads that come in off of Washington Boulevard. Those are the custodian of those is UDOT, but yet we've been having to use our own dollars to maintain and try and repair them as we can because it's not a priority for them. So we really need to do something to address that road. You know, half of it's concrete, the other half of it's asphalt. We need to try and do something where we get the right people in the room at the right time and see what we can do to make that a priority, because we shouldn't be using these dollars to repair that road. Should be taken care of by UDOT.
It is a state numbered highway, our loop road, and owned by UDOT.
Can you get any of the infrastructure funding that's out there? Lots and lots of money. Infrastructure.
I don't know. I don't know, and I would hope that UDOT. So we have a meeting coming up with the FCM because they do have a say in what funds UDOT receives. And so we're going to work with them to come up with a plan on what can we do to get some prioritization. Now, there are always transportation needs in every community. And so I think they see this entrance in this loop road is not a high priority for them. But if you look at just the bus traffic alone, those buses, we are a major terminus for UTA. We love having UTA do that. But those vehicles are rough on that circular road. You've all driven on it and you kind of get if they at least tune it to something that had some rhythm, but it's tough. And you know, one of these days we're going to have a broken axle or something something that's catastrophic that we don't want to have happen. And I don't want to use our limited state funding for our infrastructure to repair a road that the Department of Transportation should be repairing. So, but we have it on there as a eye opener.
I would ask them about, I think Slate's right on all of the infrastructure federal funding that's coming here, the IIJA money. UDOT's getting a significant amount of what's called formula money, meaning just they're the transportation agency for the state, so they get X percentage, and it's based on our population in the country. And so, you know, they're getting all EV chargers, they're getting, you know, all this money for all of this. When you sit down with them, I would ask how you sit on the plan. They put statewide plans in for all this money, and it'd be interesting to see what's coming this way.
And I'll let them know that none of our electricians will be installing any EV stations for them until they take care of this road.
There you go.
Since we train half the electricians in the state of Utah.
Perfect.
We'll be kinder.
But they have the plan just got submitted. They should be able to answer you. It's- I thought you were going next.
Crisis management.
Over there. Thank you, Vice President Call. This is something that we'll need to entertain a motion for approval of the capital improvement projects for fiscal year 2024.
Move to approve the college's fiscal year 2024 capital improvement prioritized projects.
Perfect. Thank you, Corey.
Second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is a change in policy with regard to employment at will. Maria, thank you for being here. Helping with this.
So I have a few items for your approval from the policy team, all of them stemming from the same source, which is the college's decision to move to at-will employment. There are a few reasons for this and they're in your memo, but we have hourly employees who have always been at will, and then salaried employees who after a year-long probation are no longer at will. And it's been difficult to have the two separate classes of employees in different terms of employment. So we wanted to fix that. We also have our annual funding based on our performance measures, which can be difficult if we have underperforming employees, that then our funding can be affected. Of course, our goal is always going to be to help employees improve if possible, but that will just helps us in our funding situation as well. And then finally, the state law does not require us to be a due process institution, and most of the tech colleges have moved to at-will. So we've opted to move that direction as well. So the first thing we need approval on is the at-will policy, and you have the draft there. It is very short, basically just describing that we are at will, that the college may terminate an employee at any time with or without cause. We don't do tenure, and that this at-will status exists regardless of any other written policies or employment contracts. So that's the first policy today. Any questions?
I love it. Pretty significant change, but necessary in my opinion, but any discussion, questions?
We're all out well at the state, so even our executive director, Dan Helmert, is.
Yeah.
Well, so.
Has there been any feedback from the employees regarding this change?
Not to the policy team, not in regards to moving to at-will. They had some feedback on kind of the way we were presenting it and how we were describing things, but we've addressed any concerns they've had, and it came from a template from the legal offices at USHE, so they had no problems with it.
Do all the employees know about this, or will we roll out after we approve?
We rolled it out to all of the employees beforehand, asking them for their feedback, which is our general policy. Anytime we're changing policies, we reach out to employees and legal first, bring feedback to them, so they've all seen it.
And then I addressed it in a general staff meeting in June. And indicated to all our employees at that time that we were moving to at will, and the reason that we were doing it. One of the things that we have seen with some of our great employees who have left us on their exit interview, one of their things that they said that was a struggle for them is underperforming individuals in their department that the supervisor was aware of, and it didn't seem like anything ever happened, and that they were doing extra work to meet college mission and goals, and this person was coaching and there was nothing that happened. When we work in looking at terminating someone, we always work with risk management and the employment division with the Attorney General's office. And in some of those cases, they said, well, your policy for the salaried employee, these other steps. And in many cases, the way our policy, and it was a very old policy that really came from when we were under public ed. It is very similar to what you would see in a school district. It's not a higher ed policy. And they said it actually almost encouraged a person to improve to a minimum level for a short period of time. And if they decrease their performance, you start the process all over again. And so it almost rewarded mediocrity. And so we said, we are doing this not to be punitive to any employees. We're doing this for retention of great employees. And our intent is if we've got good employees that need some help, we're going to mediate and help them and make them better. But if it comes to a situation where there is not going to be any improvement, we have to do what's best for the institution, for our students, for our employer partners, and for the taxpayer. That's the bottom line. And the way the policy was before didn't always have those things at the forefront at all. So this really is a retention for our employees.
Is that something that risk management would refer back to? Was it meant to you taking action on?
They would look at our policy.
So
and
the way things have been, that tied your hands.
Yes. They said, we can't support you in a termination because we feel like your current policy says you need to do this.
I move to approve college policy number 520.9, employment at will.
Thank you, Cameron. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of this motion, please. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, Maria, now there's the next step.
Yes, we have a couple other items.
Okay,
So even though the policy says that this supersedes any other policy, there are some that now become defunct. And it has been our practice to have the board officially sunset those policies. So the policies that will go away because of this are current employee discipline, employee probation, and employee termination. We just don't need those anymore because being at will means all of that's taken care of.
Do that again. I move to eliminate the following college policies: employee discipline 520.8, employee probation 520.35, and employee termination 520.58.
Second.
so thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the approval of this motion? Please say aye. Any opposed?
Okay, last thing. One more policy we want to create is the corrective action policy. And this has to do again with the fact that we want to help employees be really possible. And so we wanted to have in policy guidance for administering corrective action, which includes performance improvement plans, discipline, any action that the college would like to take to correct any specific performance or behavior from employees. Again, in the policy statement, it does mention that while the college may elect to administer corrective action, we are in no way obligated to do so, which again covers us if we need to terminate an employee. You don't have to have shown that history of corrective action beforehand. So that's the general policy. Any questions?
Just do all the HR.
You're on a roll. We'll now entertain a motion for approval of this process.
Let's do all HR today. I move to approve college policy 230.9, 230.29, corrective action.
Second that motion.
Thank you for the second. Any further discussion?
I'm gonna do all
Okay,
I'm
all
gonna
in
have to
favor,
go.
say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion's carried.
Sure.
Maria, thank you.
Chair, if I could make a comment on these, just a suggestion that we're seeing some novel lawsuits that are coming out, especially when you're moving to at will. Attorneys are looking for ways to still bind you or find errors in the process of removing an employee. So we've been advising institutions, and you may have already done this, but you'll want to make sure that in your policies or any other documents that you publish for your employees, that there's a statement that says that this isn't intended, nor should it be read to create a contractual relationship between your employees. And so they truly are at will, and they can't say, well, these policies created an implied contract, and because you didn't follow your policies exactly, you can't fire me or discipline me, even though I'm at will. So that's just something that if you don't have that, other institutions have worked on language that you could just borrow and put right in.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do say at the beginning, the use of corrective action does not affect an employee's at will status, but I'll review and see if we have any language specifically about not creating a contract.
Yeah, and it's just a general statement about all of your policies completely, and that includes policies that govern student conduct. We also have had lawsuits where students are claiming that they have a contractual relationship with the institution based on your policies that govern students. And so these are just new areas that we're finding some conflict. So that's just something to consider.
Thank you. In your board packet, there's a lot of information and discussion items. A chance to review those or any questions, your comments, concerns? One of the things that is in the information packet is our fourth quarter report on our strategic plan goals, our business plan goals. I've asked each of the vice presidents just to briefly talk about their success. We set these goals, they're stretch goals, we report them to you quarterly. It's kind of a big deal that an institution of our size is having the type of growth and more importantly, outcomes because of your board approved strategic plan goals. So Chad, can you talk about certificate completion?
Sure. This is exciting. If you go back, I was just looking at the information to make sure I had the numbers right because I knew President Taggart would correct me if I didn't have them right. If you go back all the way to fiscal 17, so 6 years back, the institution's basically kind of been around 850 to 900 certificates or graduates every year. About fiscal 18, we saw an uptick in new enrollment. We started to see more and more students coming back to the institution than maybe we've seen in the past. And we anticipated that with the new enrollment, we would start to see our graduates follow suit. If we're retaining students and we're having more students with Monica's team coming in to the institution, we would anticipate that students would at some point start to see that graduation. And in fiscal 21, so last year, we had 945 graduates. So a little bit of an uptick from what we've seen over the last 5 years, but we haven't seen that big move. I met with President Taggart, my faculty and my program directors last year about this time, a little bit before, and said, it's time. We need to do some things with our students that maybe we haven't done in the past to increase our graduate count. So we set a goal for 1,000 graduates for fiscal 22, which is a pretty big move from what we've been doing over the last 6 years. We ended fiscal 22 with 1,019 graduates. So we're starting to see that graduate number and those certificates to where we would anticipate. New enrollment's been anywhere from 10 to 20% growth over the last 3 or 4 years. Our growth is at 13% with certificates. So we're mirroring that growth. We're obviously about a year and a half behind. Take it a little bit month, plus or minus a month, couple months because of the length of our certificates. This year, we set a goal for 1,100 certificates. So another 100 increase on our certificates. President Taggart is expected that this institution should be putting out over 2,000 graduates a year. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there with the certificates and the programs that we're offering and the great work of our faculty. We'll get to that place. I know all of you are clamoring for skilled workers, and we are doing our very, very best to train them and to get them to work. So that's the report on our graduates, our certificates. Exciting stuff.
Did somebody set a timer? Was that somebody's timer? They're like, right
time to
now,
go.
1,100.
I talked too long.
Get on it.
Monica, can you share our enrollment and diversity goals?
Yes, happy to share. So the student services teams had a goal to increase new enrollments by 10%. So that was 3,039 new students. In the memo, it says, or 276 new students. No, that was the 10% over. So our team had over 3,000 new students to get into the door and scheduled. We were at 99% of that goal with 3,025 students. What we found when we did our report and looked at the data, students who finished a program and came back to take a second program, we were counting again. And sometimes they really were probably a new enrollment, but we said, we really just want an unduplicated count. So that took us down just a little tiny bit by just about 12 students, but we called again to the finish line for that. And that was just in the memo. That was just a lot of grassroots effort that just takes a lot of relationship building. Our goal to increase our underrepresented student enrollment by 2%. Excuse me, so 2025 new students, and we were at 102% of that goal. We were able to enroll 2,065 students who are from historically underserved groups. Again, a lot of relationship building, being out at community events, working with our school partners and our partners in the community. So we're super proud of, Ted and I are super proud of our teams. It was a heavy lift and they did a great job.
Vice President Call.
One of the objectives for our goals in the business plan includes investing in our faculty and staff. And so we've tried to include that in the business plan over the years. And President Taggart already essentially alluded to this, so I'll be very brief, but what we did in this last fiscal year was completely redo our salary ranges and had a compensation study. And probably the biggest change or modification to that we've had in the last 10 years to just try and make sure that was competitive with market and consistent in that regard. And then all of it was done with onboarding to automate that process, make it better for the managers to be able to better manage the employees, help the new employees have a better experience as they came on board. There's always going to be more we can do with onboarding, but we had some real big improvements this last year with the tools that we've brought on board and the processes we put in place. Lastly, we also adopted a telecommuting policy that will be applied and used when applicable or makes sense. If there's employees that it makes sense to have working off campus, then we'll do that. But, so those three things were all completed in last fiscal year and contributed to, we hope, helping the employees have a better experience here.
Are there any other items of discussion that we need to bring up in today's meeting? Great work, by the way. Just in hitting those goals. It's amazing to watch the metrics and the targets and the achievement.
Especially in this economy where you can't find people with the polls to show up. Keep them, retain them and get them graduating is.
Do something so proactive as go to school.
Yes.
That's pretty remarkable. Sorry. Awesome. Everyone, thank you so much for your service, for being here today. President, staff, great work. We'll be meeting again in person on October 27th. So we'll take a motion to adjourn our today's meeting.
Moved.
Go ahead. We don't even need to vote. We're taking a vote. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for virtual people.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Don.